Same. Eisenhower, 28 minutes either way between 390 and the Burn Circle. Northbound I-55 has roadwork delays, River Road to Blodgett. The inbound Stevenson gets heavy around Central, 31 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte. On AM 560, The Answer.
Worried about basement flooding? It's time to call Permaseal, 800-421-SCAL. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our AM 560 Weather Center. Here's Steve Williams.
A morning shower or thunderstorm today, otherwise breezy. A blend of sun and clouds. High today 84. Clear tonight, humid, low 68. A sunny day tomorrow, the high near 88. A shower or thunderstorm on Sunday with a high near 80. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
73 at O'Hare and along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 6:30 with breaking news as it happens. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good Friday morning. I almost said good Monday morning. Hello. Any day that ends in Y is a glorious day. Amy Jacobson here, sitting in for Dan Proft today is Paul Vallis, former CEO of CPS. Perfect timing for you to be here today because we have some options here about returning to school in the fall. Now, you know President Trump wants to take away state fund or federal funding from schools that do not comply, and Mike Pence is on board.
We have seen, and I tell you, as a parent, as much as your vice president and the head of this task force, I've been grateful for it. Is that apart from having an underlying health condition, children do not appear to be susceptible to serious illness from the coronavirus.
And that's one of the reasons why that the governor of Florida is mandating that schools reopen in the fall for in-person learning.
Fast food and Walmart and Home Depot, and look, I do all that, so I'm not like looking down on it. But if all that is essential, then educating our kids is absolutely essential. And they have been put to the back of the line in some respects. Florida's done a better job with distance learning, I think, than any other state. But I'll tell you, there's a gap here. There's big gaps around the country, and we need to put them, give them the opportunity to go in person. I could say as a parent, I have a newborn, I have a 2-year-old, I have a 3-year-old. They're not old enough to go to school, so obviously they won't be in kindergarten or anything coming up. But I would not hesitate putting them in terms of the risk, because the risk, fortunately for kids, is extremely, extremely low.
And CDC said that they were looking at revamping their guidelines, and they came out yesterday and said, no, they're not going to do that. Right. So what the guidelines are is students and teachers wear masks whenever feasible, spread out desks to 6 feet, stagger schedules, eat meals in the classroom instead of the cafeteria, no playground, and add physical barriers between bathroom sinks. What say you? I mean, you were the head of New Orleans School District,
right,
after Hurricane Katrina,
right.
And so you know how this affects kids when they're out of the classroom for a long, extended period of time.
Do not underestimate the destructive impact this is having on kids, particularly low-income children. Let's face it, while the pandemic has impacted all of us, poor families can't work remotely. Everybody struggles to homeschool your child. I mean, there are just so many disadvantages, and so many of the poor children are dependent on the schools for just not academics, but for nutrition. They're safe and secure environments, the social emotional. It's having a tremendous impact. And as I've said in the past, children normally lose 20% of their knowledge over the summer. That's what
right.
The studies will tell you. Well, imagine kids who have been out of school now
6
through
months.
August. It'll be like 5-6 months.
Yeah.
And, of course, the 15-day teacher strike. I mean, at the end of the day, we are going to lose a whole generation. So schools have got to reopen. There are 5 basic things that these are the key elements to reopening. And everyone has said it. The CDC has said it. If you look at what they've done abroad to reopen their schools, where they don't seem to be controversial, number one, you've got to screen. And let me point out, the technology is out there to have these like screening kiosks. They're like metal detectors,
or
instant,
even taking temperatures,
facial recognition, and they're extremely affordable. Number one, screening, constant screening. Number two, you've got to have a quarantine plan. So you have parents do certain things to make sure they're not sending their kids to school when they're sick, but then you screen them. You screen them and staff, and you quarantine them. You quarantine them if they show those symptoms. The third thing is masking. And, you can purchase reusable masks. They're like $5 a piece.
They're going to be handing out masks. Pritzker said that he's going to.
Exactly.
All right, what's number 4?
The fourth thing is social distancing. It's the no more than 50 gathering in a confined location and the 6-foot rule. And for those schools that have space limitations and space challenges, you can buy these like plexiglass partitions.
Right. To put in, that's what they were doing in China.
Just not with the teachers or just not with the central office, but you can do it with the individual
you can put something
desks.
like this around individual
And you know how much
desks.
it costs? It costs like $15.
Okay.
Okay, so for example, for a $25,000 investment, you could do your screening, you could do your masking, you could do your plexiglass, you could do your big plexiglass in the central office. You could separate
But
the teachers.
the thing is all of that necessary? And I say that because I want to welcome to the program Anne Flynn, who's joining us from Utrecht, Holland. And full disclosure, she used to be a teacher at St. Andrews here in Chicago. Her twin daughters, Molly and Lucy, are in school in the Netherlands. And she joins us on our Turnkey Pro answer line. Good morning, Anne. How are you?
I'm good, Aim. Good to talk to you.
Yeah. So tell me, what are they doing? Because, Trump tweeted out Germany, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, the Netherlands. Schools are open with no problems. Have there been any problems? And what is life like for your daughters when they go to school?
We just got our first email, I want to say 2 days ago, of a confirmation of a family that tested positive. And that is the first time that we've received that. The primary schools have been back since May 15th, I want to say. My girls went back 50%, so 50% of their class goes each day since June 1st. And this is the first time that we've gotten. They're trying to be fully transparent with the community when there is a positive test, and that's the first one we've received. So I would say no, we have not had an issue.
Right. Well, did your daughters wear masks? Are there partitions in between? Is there social distancing? Are they playing sports? Are you back to normal in a sense? If there ever isn't going to be a normal?
I would say it's been a gradual getting back to normal, but as of July 1st, the kids are no longer required to social distance in the classroom of any age, from kindergarten up through 18. When they first went back June 1st, there was plexiglass in some classrooms. There was distancing in other classrooms. They still have very heightened cleaning procedures. My girls say the cleaning people go into the classroom as soon as they leave it. There's hand sanitizer everywhere. The Dutch government has been very clear to everyone that if someone in your family tests positive, you all stay home for 2 weeks. So I don't know if that's been, but the sports have slowly gotten back to normal. And there's even, they want the older kids to kind of try to distance as much as possible, but not since July 1st. July 1st, it's really just 18 and over that have to keep the social distancing at this point.
Well, are Molly and Lucy doing that?
Are Molly and Lucy?
Yeah.
So they're both sitting in the room listening. So because I'm looking to them to make sure that I'm saying the correct thing. But my daughter Lucy had her first sleepover last night because I have not allowed any sleepovers. I'm probably one of the stricter parents, I would say, but they've been to a birthday party, but the birthday party was held outside in the backyard.
Are people wearing masks there? Is there a mask culture like there is here in Illinois and in certain states?
That, for me, is the biggest. I think this is so interesting. There are no masks here. Unless you are on public transportation, you are required to have them on public transportation. You will be fined if you don't have them on the trains and the trams and the buses. But if you're just walking around Utrecht or Amsterdam or Rotterdam, you might see 1 or 2 masks in the course of the day, but you don't see them in the supermarkets. They're very strict in the in the stores that they only allow so many clients in at one time or customers in at one time. There's lines for you to wait. I think it's similar to what Trader Joe's does in the U.S.
Right.
But no masks, and definitely no masks at school.
And your numbers are pretty good. I'm looking at your death rate has dropped a lot. Your caseload has dropped almost. I mean, you guys are doing really well with the numbers.
Yeah, for the first time this week, I think we went under 100 people in the ICU nationwide, which is that's a big step. Now, they say there could be thousands of people walking around still with the virus, so they don't want us to get complacent. They don't want us to, stop washing our hands and keeping distance and all that. But yeah, it's been sort of surreal for me to watch what's happened here and compare it to what's going on in the U.S. And I can't really explain it because I don't think masks can be the answer in and of themselves,
Well, yeah. I just want to comment that, look, it's a combination of things.
Yep.
You screen. And I think the point that I'm going to make is if you're going to reopen schools.
I'm sorry I cut you off with.
Right.
I think what number were you on?
If you're going to reopen schools, you've got to create you've got to embrace the type of health safety procedures that are not only obviously to serve the children but also the faculty. Because look, let me tell you, you're going to have union grievances filed left and right.
I know. I don't think
people are going to be
CTUs
demanding that schools be shut down. I was listening to Randy Weingarten saying we won't, open schools until the faculty are safe. 30% of the teachers in this country are over 50 years old. Many have pre-existing conditions. So you've got to do some common things. I mean, screening, the technology is there to do instant screening and constant screening. Right. These kiosks are they're so inexpensive.
What about the older teachers? Couldn't they form this, the plastic around them?
Well, yeah, exactly. So the point is, what you do is you provide the infrastructure to create an environment where the risk of spreading the virus is going to be minimized. And that's why you do the temperature checking. That's why you have the mask. Are all these kids going to walk around the school all day wearing masks? You try to get a kindergartner or first, second grade
try to get
mask.
a teenager?
Exactly.
Please.
But there are going to be circumstances when they're maybe moving out or in recess or, for that matter, traveling on the school bus and things like that, where you're going to want to require that. You're going to want to have a quarantine procedure. So, like you said, you shut down. They're either kept home or they're quarantined. You're going to want to have a cleaning protocol. Remember when we were kids? It was exciting for us to wash the blackboard. We all got in line.
Remember, pick me,
I'm old enough to remember
me.
the blackboard. Yeah, right. Me. Throw out the garbage. Me.
I'll do it.
I mean, the bottom line is everybody needs to be involved in that process, and you need the social distancing. And in schools where there is overcrowding, there's these petitions. These petitions will help you during the new normal. There's no reason why you can't have a partition separating the teacher or a partition in the central office, or at least you have to. They're like $15-$20 a piece. So for $25,000, you could actually have the materials that you would need: the reusable masks, the kiosk, the temperature kiosks, the partitions. But
what I'm saying is the science behind that and the data. I don't know what is driving this, because look at what Ann's saying. In the Netherlands, they don't have partitions.
Well,
let's see
what happens in a couple months now that they've
reopened
reopened
up in
schools
May.
and things like that.
I mean, it's July now.
Yeah. So, but look, in Korea, in the South Korean schools, you see the partitions.
Yeah.
In the Asian schools, now they've just had a jump in Hong Kong, and there's some other countries that obviously have opened up and where they're seeing a spike. I think schools can open, and I think you're going to have these safety procedures in place. To the degree you use them will really be dictated by whether or not there's a spike in infections. But these are not cost prohibitive, and these are not intrusive. They're not intrusive on the instructional environment.
Right. Ann, thank you so much for joining us, too. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, thanks. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
When you're serious about your concealed carry training and education and are ready to learn from an active police officer with a teaching degree, check out Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian. You'll learn safe, responsible firearm use, home defense planning, conflict avoidance, situational awareness, and how to remain physically, morally, and financially safe in the event you must use your firearm in self-defense or the defense of another. Weekday and weekend classes available.